Good evening. Welcome home. My name is Daniel Brower. I use he, she, and they pronouns, and I am the associate pastor here at First Christian Church of Decatur. Welcome to our 601 Wednesday midweek check-in and meditation. I hope that wherever you are safe and dry tonight. I don't know about where you're watching from, but here in Decatur, our weather's kind of a mess. It's really windy, it's really rainy, and I was looking out the window and I was watching the weather service said it was going to be a storm. It's not like really a storm right now, but it could be if it tried a little harder. But I was watching the storm and I was thinking about how the state of the weather kind of reflects the state of the world lately. Acts of violence and hatred are just all over the place. The same old story, new each time we turn on the news. I'm not thinking of any event specifically because there have been too many in even the past week, 3 days. It's like, I don't know if you're feeling the weight of it, but I'm feeling it lately. Maybe it's just the rain. It can be really depressing. The world and the rain, both. Things can feel overwhelming, especially with the amount of information that we're inundated with each day. You can't not know about the next horrible thing that's happened. It's raining, and I'm thinking about the story of Noah. I was talking with a friend of mine about living life in times like these, and I said the phrase, I'm not ready for this. And they said, do you think Noah was ready for what he had to deal with? Which kind of threw me because when we talk about Noah most of the time, we talk about the cute animals and the big boat and how awesome it was that God saved his whole family from this disaster. But we don't talk a lot about the disaster. We don't talk about how terrible it must have been. We don't usually talk about the fact that Noah was the most righteous man in the world who lived a exemplary life of faith, who did everything right. And what he got was to watch as his whole world fell apart around him. Noah did everything right, and things still went bad in a pretty major way. So, no, I don't think Noah was ready either. He knew that the flood was going to come, he prepared for it, but when it happened, I don't really think he was ready. I don't think that he fully understood what was going to happen until it actually did. And then it was here, and he had to deal with it. Everything that he thought was certain was over, and he was left in this cramped box in the middle of an unending ocean. We can know that terrible things are happening in the world all day long. We know that life isn't fair and that bad things still happen, but it can be very different and jarring when those things are constantly in front of us and they don't stop. When you can do everything right and still things go wrong. Unfortunately, life is not about checks and balances and doing the right thing to get the right outcome. Another friend once said that if there was a holy to-do list, we'd all be saved by now. But there's not. There aren't any guarantees, there's just life. There are a lot of bad things in the world right now. And we'll get through them. Noah got through his thing. Eventually, the storm ends and there's a rainbow, and we get to rebuild and start again. But things will not look the same as they did before. They can't. We will not be the same as we were before. How can we be? But as we step into whatever comes next, we do it together. We have each other and we have the promise that God is with us, even when the world looks like this. Because living a life of righteousness isn't about an even exchange for a calm life. Doing right by God and others isn't something that we do in order to gain something back. We do justice and love mercy and walk humbly to make a difference in the storm of someone else's life. To let others know that they are not alone and that someone cares. To look into the face of a world of violence and hate and say, it doesn't have to be this way. I'm not going to be this way. And the world will not be this way within the reach of my arm. Righteousness is not just something we do. As people of God, it's who we are. We do what is right not because it is easy, but because we serve a big love that conquers all fear. I know that our theme for Lent is joy, and I have been really hyping the joy angle of Lent for several weeks now, because I think it is important to find joy in the midst of despair. But it's not a bad thing to sometimes admit that things are rough and stuff feels heavy. I apologize that this 601 is a little tonally different from the past couple of weeks, but it's been on my heart, so I wanted to share it with you. I pray that you are safe tonight. I pray that you're at peace. I pray the comfort of God's Spirit surrounds you. In a world filled with many bad things, be good to one another. Draw close to God, and God will draw close to you. Have hope. Find joy. And remember, no matter what happens, God did make you special. God does love you very much. And so do I. Have a good night, everybody.